a nerf is definitely approaching. I'm not sure if this team will still be viable after to make crazy numbers. Recently, I've been hearing this question more and more every single day. Skratch, is it worth it for me to invest in this team? Is it worth it for me to go and build this team now, or Plarium will go and nerf it tomorrow, or who knows, maybe next week? And finally, guys, Plarium released an official statement about what they are planning to do with this team. Now, they haven't been exactly very specific, but I'm gonna give you my take on it, and I am talking about the Infinity Comp for Hydra Clan Boss. This team has been in the game for quite a while, and mainly in the regular Clan Boss. And nobody really gave a damn about how much damage you can do with that team, because no PvP element was related to the Clan Boss, right? Now, with the addition of the Hydra Clash, we've seen some insane numbers out of that team. I think Victor Tess was the very first person to take that out for a spin, you know, and the main idea is it became a very, very popular team, and it outperforms every other team in the game by a minimum of 20x, okay? So that's absolutely insane. It's not something normal for any game, right? Like there is no balance in between the teams, and Plarium will actually go and try to sort out the team in a way or another. Now, if we're quickly gonna have a look first at what Plarium is saying right here in the Raid Digest, this is from this week. So they are talking a bit about clarifications with complicated game mechanics with Sun Wukong, Sheep, and Polymorph. This is something that I already explained you in a different video a few days ago. If you watch the guide on a Sun Wukong, that the champion is broken, like super powerful, and kind of like I'm explaining you the kit and how the kit is actually going to work. We've actually covered pretty much the exact same things in that video. So I'm not gonna go over all this part, but feel free to pause the video and read it if you missed it, guys. I am gonna cover this one right here quickly before we're gonna move over to the next part. But basically, Amic Trunkheart's passive ability may accidentally increase his or his ally skills cooldowns, which it shouldn't do. The fix is in our schedule, but probably not for the nearest upcoming major update. So basically, if you have a different set on him that will somehow reduce damage from the team or something like that, will increase the cooldown of his own skills when he gets damaged, which is kind of like a weird thing. It's something that it should not happen, basically. So keep that in mind if you decide to use him in the Clan Boss with some other champions. Now, I've used him with, what's his name? With Ferokin the Fat, right? And Ferokin the Fat has that specific passive that says he basically reduces the damage on himself and is spreading it around. And I used to see that increases the cooldown of skills in the run when I was doing it, but I never really realized what exactly is happening. I just thought that was a bug and was displaying the Clan Boss basically getting his cooldowns increased, which was not a thing, you know? So I assumed was just a visual bug. But it seems that is a bug with his passive, basically. So, as we are sure you are all aware, some teams that include Corporal and Cadaver deal disproportionately high damage to Hydra. And it is disproportionately when you know that even if you put the most OP champions in the game together, they won't match this damage, not even by 20%, you know, like it's so unbalanced. Now, I'm not saying nerf the team. I actually like to have that team for my hard Hydra, and I would like to see that team remaining as it is in a way or another, just have a bit of balance to it so it doesn't outperform everything in the game by such a high margin, you know? Like, I actually like having that team viable. Then we know about the situations and are considering ways of bringing Hydra battles to better balance without making any involved champions weaker. So basically, that's actually a good thing that they are saying it like this. I've been saying it since day one. Guys, expect some changes to this team. There is no way in the world that this team will stay like this. I've seen a few busted things in this game. One was Geomancer's passive when they changed it. For like 1 hour, it was one-shotting the clan boss or something like that. That was a very busted thing. Then we had Nogdar, I think. Was it Nogdar? One-shotting the Sand Devils. And was a quick farm like of 5 seconds or something. That again was on for like 2-3 hours. And that was a quick coding thing. And this is the third most busted thing that I've seen in this game since I'm playing it. You know, I don't really recall anything else as crazy. So I expected them to do something, you know, like we haven't bugged them with go and nerf this team or anything like that. We kind of like said, you guys gotta balance out. Like if it's not corpulent on all these difficulties, it's gonna be thrown down the lower difficulties. The multipliers of the Hydra Clash need to be adjusted. Then Tranda will dominate the higher difficulties, you know. So either way, it's not gonna be good. So they do need to find a balance to keep this team alive, but just don't deal like 20 billion on Nightmare, you know. That's just absolutely insane. Like you won't be able to come close to it. I'm not saying it's easy to achieve, but hey, reaching 700-800 million with Acrisia teams is not easy to achieve. Reaching 300-400 million with no Acrisia teams on Nightmare is not easy to achieve. You need like insane stats, insane RNG as well. So none of these things are easy to achieve, but outperforming the rest of the teams like this is just absolutely insanity, you know. So I'm glad to see that they are working on some fixes. Now I'm gonna explain you what I am expecting them to change so they keep this team viable without actually weakening the champions for the regular clan boss or anything like that. But I'm still not sure how well this team will perform in Hydra afterwards. And then of course they are talking about a few other bugs with the live arena crests, which yeah, you're not getting that much. And how this person said it right here, 5 points per medal for live arena battles will still leave that game mode far behind that other arena modes. And mainly it's because it takes a lot of time to play it. You might go in, click 3-4 times till you find an opponent, then pick the champions, ban the champions, do the fight. So there you go, 5-10 minutes wasted. Sometimes it can go quick, but it's not very common. And you wasted all that time for a small amount of points, basically, you know. So that's pretty much what's happening. The ongoing and upcoming events in Teleria, because I've seen this question quite a bit, is about the UDK event. So right here, you're going to see birthday catch-up event. And it shows you that you can earn 250 extra points. Now, this is not on top of the 1,750 points from before. It's not on top of that. It's part of that, but it's on top of the 1,500 that you need in order to complete the UDK Birthday Titan event. So it's on top of this. You won't be able to earn in total 2,000, okay? 1,750 is everything that you can earn with every single event. So it is a bit confusing because they named it catch-up event when it's not an actual catch-up event, you know? So I just wanted to clarify that for you guys because I know quite a few people were asking about it too. Now let's go over back to the Hydra clan boss. So if we're quickly gonna have a look right here at the Infinity comps and everything else that we have going on. So this is my team that I've done for Hydra Nightmare, okay? Double Acrisia, 708 million. This was not an easy team to achieve. This is actually number 5 in the world record team as Acrisia team for the Hydra. So it's a pretty hard thing to achieve, 700 million with this team. You see other teams that have double, triple Acrisias, 300, 400 million. Maybe they went full auto. They didn't really bother to work on it. But either way, you need very strong stats on your team. So it's not something that you're going to achieve with common gear, basically. Because I know most people say Skratch is not easy, but it's not easy to run the Brogni team, you know? Of course it's not. None of the teams are easy. I'm not saying it is. And I think one person in Mad actually has a very good key. This dude right here, Killer B. He actually went on Nightmare and dealt 10 billion damage, right? So I'm not saying it's easy to achieve this. Yes, 5-star Brogni, and he does have a Crushing Rand on Brogni, +1. This Crushing Rand is not really going to help Brogni for the entire fight, so the Blessing is not the best either. And yeah, if you have a 6-star Brogni with Crushing Rend is nuts, you're gonna do insane damage. But just looking at the team all around is a massive damage, right? Like the damage is just nuts. If you put 100 Acrisias together, you're not gonna get close to this damage. So yes, they will find some sort of a balance. And not to mention, is extremely popular to have that team. So if we're quickly gonna go in my clan, for example, let's just see on the lower difficulties. Seems like somebody hit normal as well. But if we go in hard, look at this. You see, everybody with Corpulent Cadaver. That's what I'm using too. This is mine. I don't have double Yumeko, so I'm just using no Yumeko, and it's still 3 billion. And I can definitely improve this team to go to 4 billion. That's actually something that I'm planning to do for next week. And it is pretty hard. Double Tranda can get close to it with Yumeko, or double Yumeko Tranda can get close to it on hard. And that's pretty disgusting, so that's another thing that they should kind of like look into fixing. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. But let me explain you what I think about the whole thing. Let me explain you what I think that Plarium will change on this team without actually weakening the champions. So right here is my run from this week with my Infinity Comp. If you guys want to see it for the setup or anything like that, I'm gonna link it in the pinned comment. I'm gonna put the link there. Basically, this was done on my live stream on Twitch. I'm gonna walk you through some of the mechanics, which most probably some of you guys are already familiar with. But basically, when you have a new Hydra head spawning out, they're gonna come shielded, right? So that's kind of like a mechanic that doesn't allow you to just wreck them as soon as they come out. And it works like that for every single champion in the game except Corpulent Cadaver. Corpulent Cadaver completely ignores that mechanic. So when the Hydra heads spawn out, after you kill them, after you decapitated them, they come shielded, but Corpulent Cadaver is able to one-shot them. Like you see, the Head of Rat came with a shield. They usually need to take a turn before you can actually deal a lot of damage. So I think that they will fix this thing on Corpulent Cadaver. He's not going to be able to ignore that Hydra mechanic. I would assume so. Then there is the next thing. Weak hits. You're very familiar with them because they happen every single day. But when you are weak hitting an enemy, your damage is being reduced significantly. And of course, is not a crit hit. And Corpulent Cadaver doesn't care about that. Regardless if it's a weak hit, a non-crit, or a crit, his damage is still going to stay identical. So I feel like they might adjust that thing as well. Now I'm pretty convinced that that will affect the clan boss on affinities 100%. So I'm not sure if they will actually intend to change that or not. That is the next mechanic in the Hydra clan boss. And that is the Toxic Cloud. Now, the Toxic Cloud is being placed by the head of Blight, the one that we just killed right here. And basically, it forces your entire team to weak hit. Now, again, Corpulent Cadaver doesn't care about that. So most probably, that's something that they will fix, you know, because it basically ignores every single mechanic for the Hydra clan boss. No other champion in the game does it. So the only way I could see them keeping this team viable in a way or another is by fixing these things. Now, there's another thing that I don't understand why is happening, and that is the interaction in between Corpulent Cadaver and Hex. So regularly, if we are going in the game and we're quickly checking what Hex does, I think we can actually check it, but I'm not 100% sure if is a description of Hex. I don't think so. But basically, it spreads the damage by 10%, right? So it's 10% if I'm not mistaken, but I'm quickly gonna Google it. So basically how you may see right here, champions under Hex debuffs take damage whenever their allies do. The damage from Hex debuffs ignores champions defense. The original targets all take full damage. Champions under Hex debuffs take 2% of the AoE damage inflicted on their allies, and 10% of on a single target damage inflicted on their allies. So 10%, I got that right, I didn't remember that wrong, but basically, it's not the case. So if I'm using any other champion that will make a hit while the rest have Hex, it's gonna be straight 10%. Now with Corpulent Cadaver, it actually feels more like 40%. So I'm quickly gonna wait for a hit right here so you guys can see, check that out. You see? So 300 17k. Then we got 95k on the decapitated head, 31 on this one, 31k on this one. So this is 10% on the heads that are alive. When you have the decapitated heads, that completely changes. Now the hex already completely ignores defense, so it shouldn't be anything whatsoever. You could say that they are sort of things where the passives on some of these specific heads might reduce the damage on the hex, but again, I don't think that's the case. I'm not 100% sure exactly what is happening. Some of you maybe paid more attention to the whole thing. I know we were actually discussing it while I was doing this run, that it's pretty odd that Corpulent is the only champion that busts the damage like this from the hex. I haven't seen it happening with others either, like if I'm using my Acrisia's A3 for example, or a Septimus, the damage still stays to 10% regardless if the heads are decapitated or not. At least that's what I've noticed so far since I started paying attention to it. So I feel like they might adjust something in here as well, and I feel like that will reduce the damage a lot for this team all around, because if you are paying attention to the total damage, for example, so when you are heading right here, like I'm gonna show you my run that I've done on hard and should be right here. And you see I have Anchorite on a cursed set, so he places Hex. I have Lydia on a cursed set, so she places Hex. I have no masteries on Anchorite, okay, whatsoever, and he dealt more damage than pretty much everyone else except Corpulent Cadaver. 685 million. And that's because of the Hex. So dealing so much damage is just absolutely insanity. When my Corpulent Cadaver hits for like 15 million damage, Anchorite gets from the Hex, okay, extra damage like 3, 4, 5 million damage, okay, which is just nuts. Sometimes it goes even higher. And depending on how much damage you're dropping normally, you know? So something is a bit odder. So I feel like they're definitely gonna work on changing all these things. Now, I can't really imagine what else they will change and try to balance in the team without actually changing the champions. I don't really see how they're gonna balance the other teams, you know, like the Acrisia teams, how they're gonna balance the Tranda teams. Are they gonna change the multipliers on the Hydra Clash or no? But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. A nerf is definitely approaching. I'm not sure if this team will still be viable after to make crazy numbers. I'm afraid that we're gonna get a team that will do mediocre damage, but it won't be affected on the regular clan boss. That's my thought on the whole process. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.